And now, preparing to listen to the words of the gospel, please stand as together we proclaim.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, Lord.
On the first day of the week, Mary of Magdala came to the tomb early in the morning, while it was still dark, and saw the stone removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Jesus loved, and told them, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we don't know where they put him." So Peter and the other disciple went out and came to the tomb. They both ran, but the other disciple ran faster than Peter, and arrived at the tomb first. He bent down and saw the burial cloths there, but did not go in. When Simon Peter arrived after him, he went into the tomb and saw the burial cloths there, and the cloth that had covered his head, not with the burial cloths, but rolled up in a separate place. Then the other disciple also went in, the one who had arrived at the tomb first. And he saw and he believed, for they did not yet understand the scripture, that he had to rise from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
There are three words that changes everything. He is risen. Because of those three words, we have a hope that nothing can take away, and a joy that nothing in this world can give us. In a Peanuts cartoon comic strip, the dog Snoopy and the little bird Woodstock are sitting on top of Snoopy's doghouse. Snoopy says, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be out somewhere sitting on a branch chirping. That's your job." People expect to hear birds chirping when they wake up in the morning. And with that, Woodstock flies off and sits on the top of a branch of a shrub and belts out a single chirp. Then he flies back to the doghouse, and Snoopy says, "You only chirped once. You can't brighten someone's day with one chirp." So Woodstock flies back to the shrub and lets out 6 more chirps. And when he returns to the doghouse, Snoopy smiles and says, "There now, didn't that give you a real feeling of satisfaction? But the bad news, you're supposed to do that every morning for the rest of your life." With this being more than Woodstock could take, he fainted. Please, people, don't faint when I tell you that the good news for us as a people of the resurrection faith is that we must share that faith every day of our lives. He is risen. Every day of our lives, we say it, we shout it, sing it, and yes, maybe even we chirp it. We experience Easter as the most powerful and most heart-moving, the most life-enriching event in human history. Easter changes everything. Easter changes how we think about who we are and what we ought to be doing with our lives. Easter lifts us up and enables us to see life and each other from a new height. Easter enables us to appreciate and revere one another as precious children of God. Easter Day is the day of all days to try and get in touch with those points in our life that need resurrection the most. The painful points, the points of pressure and stress, tension, anxiety, and grief. Maybe it's the need to forgive. Maybe it's the need to be forgiven. A Christian song called "Point to You" by We Are Messages starts out like this. How can I forgive when I can't forgive myself? How can I move on when all I have is regrets? How can I fix you when I keep turning away? How can I make it past the noise with my shame? I need a miracle, some healing for my heart. I need a revelation, a brand new start. Easter is the miracle we need. Easter offers us the healing for our heart. Easter is the revelation, and Easter is the brand new start offered to us by Jesus. We heard in John's Gospel that Mary awoke early in the morning to go to Jesus' tomb. Mary rises to a new day, a new beginning, new opportunities, and new encounters. We also rise to those things and more. Maybe it's a new school, a new job that tests new skills, a new book that opens up vistas to you, a new movie that brings you enjoyment, a new car that brings new adventures, a new relationship, an old relationship made new. New is good, isn't it? For many of us, a new knee or hip is really good. But nothing can match the goodness of the good news that Easter promises us. It promises us forgiveness, the feeling of love, the chance to come back to the one who sacrificed his life for us. A new calling to be a people of faith, a people of resurrection that God calls us to be. In a song by Hillsong Worship called "What a Beautiful Name," there is a verse that goes like this. You didn't want heaven without us, so Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could separate us now? We gather here today because of Jesus and what Easter Sunday represents to our faith and to us individually. But what does separate us from Jesus? Is it our desire to live large or to be self-sufficient? I'm surely not the judge of that. Back in the 70s, a clergyman started feeling some discomfort in his throat. Then he began to notice that he had a tendency to drag one leg. His doctor correctly diagnosed him, and the man was suffering from atrophy. Regretfully, the doctor told him his life is withering away, that his muscles were wasting away, and soon he would be unable to speak. The clergyman went forth with great courage and told many of his well-wishers that he was now in the kindergarten of suffering. Finally, he lost complete use of his legs, and his voice was gone. But he was still able to hold the pen and write a few words. Then came Easter, the last Easter of his life. And he wrote this remarkable expression of faith. He wrote, "It is terrible to awaken on Easter morning and have no voice to shout, 'He is risen!' But it would be still more terrible to have a voice and not want to shout it." Easter is the #1 feel-good day. I feel good that Easter brings us together today to celebrate a glorious event. Easter is an event that brings us new beginnings. Easter changes everything. He is risen. Have a happy Easter, knowing that God is blessing you here and now. And don't forget, like Woodstock, chirp more than once a day about your love for God.